All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AdvocacyPRIME and ICEC, our third podcast here. I am having the absolute pleasure at the ICEC conference here to interview Stephenie Joerger, a high school special education teacher and a CEC member. How are we doing today?
Doing good. Thank you for chatting with me.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, Steffi and I, we have a lot in common, both being a special ed teacher. So what's nice is that we kind of understand each other's lingo. We understand what we're doing, and we understand that, well, we also had the day off today, which was nice.
Right.
But everyone's like, enjoy your day off. I'm like, well,
Working still.
Yeah, we're still working here.
And we can drop acronyms and know what the other's talking about, so that's always nice.
Absolutely. First I really want to establish, why we're here, right?
Okay.
Like, we are
Sure.
here in Naperville at the conference for ICEC, and it's been rocking here. It's been really cool. People coming in and out, a lot of cool conferences, or a lot of cool discussions going on and presentations and everything like that. I want to first start off with how long have you been a part of CEC for?
So I've been a part of it for about 10 years. When I made the switch from being a general ed teacher, I first started out in social studies, but when I was getting my master's out of school, I got a job at my old high school and I was working as a one-to-one and found that I really loved it. There wasn't a teacher. I stepped into that role and people were saying like, oh, don't you want to switch? Do you want to do special ed? I was like, well, no, I just spent 4 years and a lot of money to get my history degree. So I started out in that, but then quickly realized I could make the switch over. And so found out about CEC then and got involved. But at the kind of like just getting the newsletters, reading things, but not really being active.
Yeah. I know how that goes for sure. I think that was definitely like post-college for me a little bit, What'd you get your master's in?
My first one was secondary ed,
Cool.
and then the learning behavior specialist came with that.
That is so cool. So, and now and how long have you been in the world of special education for?
About 10 years.
And is that including your one-to-one experience?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't include that, I guess. So if I did, I guess that'd be about 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, even as a teacher, one of the biggest compliments but also one of the biggest losses is, having a paraprofessional go and, go back to school to go get their special education endorsement or their master's in it. And it's like, yeah, you're amazing, but I also love you in my classroom and I don't want you to go, It's like, yeah, grow. We need more people like you, you know?
And it was because of that experience that I realized that special ed was actually my passion. Like, I love history. I'm lucky I get to co-teach in it, but special ed was where my heart actually was. So that allowed me to realize that.
Yeah, it's cool how like things just kind of come out of nowhere. And,
you never know sometimes what's going to change your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about, just being a member of CEC, because I think I can kind of agree with you, I don't think I really understand the importance of CEC and ICEC until really until we really get deep into our professional lives and we're in the world of special education, because they have so many, they have the standards of special education. CEC is the standard of special education, and it's a great avenue for us to be able to get, information on standards and all that. What led you to go and sign up to want to be a part of this community?
Just kind of reflecting and realizing that I needed to grow and that this opportunity is there. And as my wanting to grow further and my confidence grew with what I was doing at my just high school, wanting to build more connections outside of just, since I'm a single high school district, wanting to learn more from others, and then realizing that I actually probably could contribute in some ways. So wanting to kind of do my part and give back, since there's so many people that have been doing this for so many years, put so much time into it. So wanting to help carry that a little bit.
You know what's really cool is like when we're at our board meetings and when we're at the just any meeting or just around this conference, we see so much history.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is everybody's here for the same thing.
Right.
We're all here for the same reason. Why? Because we want to grow and we want to learn
Right.
more about people with disabilities. Because, I don't know, it's our life.
I know, and so passionate about that.
Yeah.
Everyone's so passionate.
So what positions do you currently hold right now?
So I have been the Yes I Can Award chairperson since this spring. So kind of jumped into that, learned more about it from actually collecting the votes and learning about these kids and sending it out. So that's been one of the most inspiring things, is getting to see educators from around the state nominating these students that they're seeing excelling.
Wow.
And it's so inspiring. I haven't even gotten to meet them yet. I get to meet them tomorrow at the luncheon, but seeing their videos, I've seen the words written by their teachers, and just how inspiring their journeys have been in the different categories. And so that kind of correlates with the Exceptional Children's Week in May. So I'm going to be taking that over as someone else is stepping into a communications chair. So just ways to promote what our kids are doing here in Illinois, and to try to get more people involved and raise awareness.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that, we get wrapped up in our own little bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And even in our own community of teachers in our school.
Yeah.
And what's so awesome and advantageous of joining groups Illinois Council for Exceptional Children or just, the National CEC, is that you are given the ability to go connect with. I would have never have met you,
Right,
and
right.
and she is so kind that she bought me a coffee.
You have to share the love of Starbucks.
Yeah, and it was also, teachers love their Starbucks, they love their
They
coffee,
sure do.
and she has a lot of points, so I was super excited.
Got to spread those around to fellow educators. We run on caffeine.
So that's an advantage here of being
Right?
connected out
See,
to,
come join us and have some Starbucks at the
Yes.
very least.
Yes. I'm sure there is enough Starbucks to go around. But again, just getting outside of your bubble and being able to meet other people that all have, again, the similar interests and all that. And then, we're essentially just volunteering our time because we're so passionate about it. But when you're a part of this, it just makes you how do you feel being a part of this?
Re-energized.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm sure we all feel that you care, you're passionate, you want to do your best, but in the day in, day out, sometimes you have discouraging moments or tough weeks. This week, to be honest, was a tough one. I had some tough IEP meetings, some tough situations with students, but then getting to be around other adults that are doing the same things and just hearing different speakers and messages and just connecting with different educators brings that energy back.
Yeah.
And, as corny as it sounds, it's kind of uplifting, and just that push of yes, this is all worth it. This is all good. So I just get that jolt of energy when I'm around others in the field.
I think what's really cool about this professional organization is that, again, and I was talking with State Representative Tara Costa Howard about how that we need to, provide mental health to teachers and especially, special education teachers. We see a lot, we lead with our emotion a lot, we feel a lot, and we take home a lot. Mm-hmm. And, things like this, I feel even just now, having this conversation with you, I just feel much more at ease.
Yes.
About, because again, we have our hard weeks, and it's really cool to kind of come and talk to you and vent about it.
Yes, and that self-care, it's not always talked about and addressed with us, and making sure that we're doing the things to make sure we're okay. We're caregivers, we're constantly trying to make sure everyone else is taken care of.
Yeah.
So thank you for saying that, because the mental health piece of everything is one of the most important aspects, I think, and something I'm so passionate about. So,
well, let's dive a little bit further into it.
Okay.
Again, that we are always so, as special ed teachers, we are putting others first before ourselves. Mm-hmm. I think that's why we go home every single day with kind of our brain tied in knots, and which will allude us to watching mindless TV or as just we were talking,
scanning on Instagram or something, just to kind of.
And there's nothing wrong with that, you know.
There's not.
Whatever way that you're gonna do to help yourself, like, because you got to go into your classroom the next day. You have to be, on your A game. You have to be that student's backbone.
Right.
What are some ways that you can kind of go home and unwind?
So something that has really helped me in the last few years is mindfulness and getting more involved in understanding what that really is and how I can implement it with myself. And so at first I've always cared about mental health and talking about therapy or different things with my kids. And then I was like, oh, well, I want to share this with my students. I want it for my students. Started a little group at my school. But then the more I thought about it, went to different conferences, it's like the teachers have to be okay first. Yeah. And that message has to go out to us. And I need to make sure that I'm always practicing it myself. So carving out those moments to take some breaths, to drop in, to mindfully eat a couple bites, because we're usually, not eating like today, or, shuffling.
We both missed lunch because we were working through it.
We're doing it while we're, prepping for the next class or whatever it might be. So just carving out those moments has been a big, big help and a big shift for me. Things like yoga. It's so great, and my little 4.5-year-old, like getting him into yoga with me. So it's just something that you can, again, take some moments for yourself. Yeah, that's been big.
I want to dive deeper into it, and I want to see if you could relate to me on this level here, because I talk about it, right? Like I talk about how I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be mindful. I'm gonna be aware of what's going on. I'm gonna, just take my deep breaths, and I don't know, sometimes I find myself talking that I'm going to do it, but I don't actually do it. Mm-hmm. Sure. I don't actually...
Best of intentions, but then it can sometimes feel like it's another thing you have to remember to do. Yeah. And that's like mental health or SEL.
Intuitive. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that it's not... What I try to reframe it and sharing with people is it's not one thing adding to your plate, that taking care of ourselves, SEL, self-care, mental health, it is the plate. Yeah. And that has to be there first before you can add in these other components.
Right. Because, if you're trying to put what what you're going to eat in your hands, it's going to fall, right. You're not going to get the whole meal.
Right.
And it definitely is something that, it's just like working out. Like you need to work out your mind, mm-hmm. You need to work out your body to be healthy, but you need to work out your social emotional status, and make sure you're fine.
Right. And I love that the last couple years, that's been a focus at the ICEC convention, which has been really great, and had an amazing keynote speaker last year, Carla, from Mindful Practices. She's so amazing. And so actually found out about her through this, and then got to see her at CEC, a social emotional summit this summer. And so it's that kind of stuff that it's like ICEC brought that to my awareness, and then I've been able to kind of follow up and expand my practices and my knowledge.
I think that's so awesome, because the mindfulness speaker last year, these are the benefits that you get for joining an organization like this. Mm-hmm. This is the organization to join for individuals with, exceptionalities. It is really the group. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me some more about this summer, about the summit?
Yeah.
I kind of want to, that interests me a lot.
Yeah, it's so neat. So I'm not sure if there's any other ones in our state that are dedicated to just that. It was the second year they've done it. It was called the Social Emotional Learning Summit at Oak Park River Forest High School. Yeah. And so for 2 days, that was just everything. Every keynote, every breakout session you got to pick from was all surrounding that. And so many messages of taking care of ourselves as the teachers, which is not always what we're talking about. And I saw her actually in April too, now that I'm thinking about it. And it was her I Teach Because. And that reconnecting with that message of why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Because we, as you said, like everyone here, there's so many stories, so much tradition that comes with it. We all started for a reason.
Right.
But when we're in the daily grind or a particularly hard year or semester, whatever it might be, we can lose that focus.
Yeah.
And so taking that time to reconnect back is, man, it can make such a difference.
And I mean, again, like, conventions like this aren't just designed for, okay, come back or, go to this conference, learn everything about behavior, come back and
Right.
change your classroom immediately. All the behaviors will stop and you need to practice all of them. You need to learn it. It's like, no,
You need time.
exactly.
You need all of that time to be able to, first of all, to process the information,
Yes.
really get what's going to work for you and in your classroom, your setting, and then more opportunities
Yeah.
to keep learning about it and then time to implement. Because I think that's probably what so many educators would say is not enough time,
Yeah.
not enough time to do something. And so when you can find a topic, a strand, whatever it might be that you're passionate about, and then can keep having opportunities to follow up throughout the year, that's when change can be made.
Yeah. And like, it's just like, it's also therapy for, for us here too, to learn
Yeah.
those important strategies,
Yes.
like to learn that, what are some effective practices, because if we're not in our best state of mind, it's going to reflect on our students.
Yeah.
And obviously that's not what we want. But I think another advantage too is just making connections here too.
Yes.
And like we just kind of were saying earlier, like knowing that we're on the same boat. We've had tough weeks, or we haven't had tough weeks, and like, hey, how can I support you here? I want to go back to what you're saying about just being able to think and reflect. How much time during your plan period, if you even have plan, like sometimes I won't even get up, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
You're in meetings or something else.
yeah, but I mean, like, are you able to actually sit down and reflect?
Only when I am consciously carving out time to
Yeah.
do that. And that's something that I'm trying to put at my forefront of my mind. And the more I learn about being an adult learner and what goes into that is, instructional coaching is bigger and bigger, and really working on our instructional practices. If you're not being more self-aware of what you're doing and where you're at, and reflecting upon what's already happening in your classroom or your setting, and then what you actually want to see change,
Yeah.
without taking that time to actually be thinking about it or chatting with someone at your school, someone that you've connected with to have these conversations. It's just, we're going to have the best of intentions, but we're going to fall flat.
Yeah.
And then that can be discouraging, and you're not going to want to try something new if you,
Yeah.
are feeling that frustration because it didn't work, because I just didn't have the time or whatever it might be. So carving out, being intentional with moments, that's made a difference.
I think that's key, and I think that's something that like I'm actually going to take away from you, is that like carving out time. I don't carve out time. I just like, with my time off, I just do.
You're
do what I
filling
have
it.
to do.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, let's just kind of go on with the
Keep
momentum.
the grind going.
Yeah, and then let's get to the end of the day,
Right.
and and then when am I carving out time to especially reflect upon my practices and what went well, what didn't go well. I think that's something that I'm totally going to take away from here. And
awesome.
and again,
that's why this is so great.
yeah, and like just sharing it too with with colleagues and letting people know that there are so much effective material out there. Like again, like CEC offers so much PD, and it's what I love about it is that it's a broad range, right? Like, I
Right.
mean, you got things from just simple mindfulness all the way to like curricular, the deep curricular
Yeah.
instruction.
Everything
and,
under the sun, almost.
Yeah.
Anything you need, you can find it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be overwhelming to know where to start. So that's why getting more involved and coming to workshops, conventions, seeing a webinar can help you kind of narrow down what you want to focus on. So you're not trying to do everything at once.
So actually, I want to go back to like when you've been a part of CEC for 10 years, and how did you actually first sign up?
I think it was just online, or my director maybe told me, hey, this is something like you should do. So I did it just, hey, you're a teacher, you should be part of a professional organization.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where it started. And then I think it was my director that was kind of pushing me, okay, well, you're doing this, but like, what are you doing with the information?
Yeah.
And I was like, so true. It's not enough to read something or whatever, but how am I implementing something in my practice? How is it changing my teaching?
Yeah. I just think that, the evidence-based and then scientific information that and you know what I mean by scientific, but it's evidence.
Data.
The data-driven practices that come and that we can see and relate to and be like, hey, like let me go ahead and try this. I mean, there's so many times where I do find myself looking up, those CEC articles and or even, and that was used so much in my college as well and in my master's, like just these really, really informative articles that are actually, they're not dry at all. Like, they're just so easy to connect to. And I think that's just another big strength of being a member of CEC.
Yeah, it's you have support and information that is, as we said, it's data driven. It's the research is backed and behind it, which is so important because you don't want to just be picking something you're getting from Google and it might not be actually, credible or the best. So this kind of takes that out of it, which is really nice. And being, at ICEC this weekend, you get to see other, teachers in your state presenting, which is really cool sometimes. Like the keynotes are always, fabulous. But sometimes just that smaller setting, getting to see what other people are doing and implementing in their classrooms is really neat and inspiring. Yeah.
I mean, and we need, both of us being from suburban, we teach in suburban schools, and, I just had the ability, or not the ability, but I had the pleasure of talking to some people that are from the rural communities.
Right.
Because education is it's so different.
Right.
Whether you are in, CPS to a suburb to all the way down in a country where, you're going to school with the same kids for
your entire time.
Yeah, your entire time.
Right.
And the resource, and you find out like that, you're like, wow, like I'm so lucky to have the resources that we have because and then it makes you question, like, why is there so much lack of funding in other places? And, like, why don't they have that? Like, that's not, like, why do I have that and they don't, And it makes you, think that, hey, you're lucky. But at the same time, I just don't feel the justice, It concerns me.
That's a great point. And then there are ways to get more involved with that and pushing our state representatives and federal level to make some changes.
Yeah. So
that's a great point. Yeah.
I think that advocacy alone really does happen here. But again, if I'm taking anything away from, I'm taking a lot away from this conversation, and I think that's carving out time to advocate for yourself, because yourself is that primary source of being able to advocate for your students, your population, and the exceptional children. So, is there anything that you would like to wrap us up with, or anything that you would like to talk about?
Well, I will tie it back to the Yes I Can Awards.
Yeah.
So we're presenting some really incredible children awards tomorrow, Saturday at the luncheon. There are 8 students in Illinois that won this year, and then 2 of them actually were selected for national awards. So they're going to be recognized in February in Portland, and that is cool. Such a cool thing. But I would love for any educators, specialists, anyone throughout the state of Illinois, please think about the kids you're working with, and please, please, please nominate them for this next year. We've got the Google form ready. It's going to be on our website, so you're going to be able to go and fill it out. It's not that time consuming, because I know that time is always a factor. So you're just going to, have the basic information to send to us. You're going to give a blurb of why your student is doing really well, why they should be celebrated, and a little video of them in action of, what they're doing. So the different areas are on there, the website, for you to see and see where your kid might be falling in. But I would really encourage everyone to think about their kids they're working with, and this goes all the way up to 21. Wow. So it's our little ones all the way up through our young adult age. So please think about your kids, and please submit a Yes I Can award for this next year.
Yeah, I think that we have to think about how much that we like to be recognized, or like how that feeling feels, and that it is just, I mean, the feeling that you even get to when you're able to see when somebody gets that award, and that recognition for working so hard and being so unique, and I think that's great. So I really highly encourage everybody to, take a look, especially the teachers, take a look at the amazing things that are happening, and it's just positive reinforcement. We foster positive reinforcement there, and hopefully see more growth.
Right. So I'd love to see that. And then I guess just take a mindful moment. That would be my other big thing. Take a mindful moment for yourself where you can.
Well, Stephenie Joerger, I really, really, really appreciate you coming on here. I'm excited to.
Thank you for having me. This was an adventure. I wasn't sure today. I didn't know about this, but I couldn't be happier to be able to chat with you and just kind of share the stuff we're doing at ICEC and just different thoughts on education.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see those awards go out tomorrow. I'm excited to see the smiley faces that we have. And
awesome.
We're gonna wrap it up here. So thank you so much, Stephenie. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.